What's up, everyone? It is Friday. You made it. Welcome back to Friday Live with Lauren. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you for joining us. I hope that you get to learn a little bit, laugh a little bit, and level up today. I have some really fun guests who are going to join me. Today, we're going to talk all about community and really what it means to work in community. And y'all, we're not talking about community management like where you live, right? We're not talking about your HOA. We're not talking about your apartment complex. We're going to talk about community in terms of tech and what it means to really build community. So if you are watching, please do your girl a favor and go share the show. Share the show with a friend. We're going to have a lot of giveaways today. I would love it if some brand new shining face came on and entered to win one of these beautiful giveaways. I love you all if you show up regularly, but let's share the love with some friends. So share the show, comment where you're joining from, and let me, without further ado, bring on Mr. Danny and Dylan. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Hi. All right, everyone. So we have a lot of fun topics today, but first I want to talk about these two people. I'll give them both a second to introduce themselves, kind of tell us who they are, where they're from. Danny, why don't we start with you, since I think you just finally swallowed the water you were drinking. Maybe it's water. But why don't we start with you? Why don't you say hi to everybody, tell everybody where you're joining from, and where you work.
What's going on, everyone? Nice to see everyone today. So I am Danny Leo. I am the community events manager at a company called Callus, and I currently live in San Jose, California right now.
Awesome. California, opposite coast from me. I'm in Florida, and y'all, the storms are rolling in. If y'all pull up the radar where I'm at, pull up Boca Raton, Florida, and look right now, I'm under like a flood advisory. So if all of a sudden everything stops and the show ends, all the power went out, and I'm sorry in advance. But hopefully that won't happen. And now let me kick it over to Dylan. Dylan, let's say hi to you. Where are you from? Who do you work for? Tell us about you.
Hey everyone, I'm Dylan. I'm currently the head of community at TextBlaze, and I'm based out of Mooresville, North Carolina, just outside Charlotte.
North Carolina, just outside Charlotte. Y'all hear his accent? I love it. I'm gonna talk with a little accent today, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. Let's not do that. No, where are y'all from? Is anybody in the comments from anywhere close to Dylan or Danny? I want to know. And is it flooding where you guys are? Are you guys about to experience like some torrential downfall like me, or are you guys okay?
Where's my California people at? That's the sunny California side.
All right. So, y'all, I know a bunch of people who are here want to know, what are we commenting to win today? I'm going to start slowly scrolling them on the bottom, and let me find it. I will pull it all up for you now so we can start commenting away. We're going to move us over to the side, and bada bing, bada boom. We have 6 giveaways today. Please check your spelling. We go over this every week, but there are people. Listen, I think y'all do know how to spell. Maybe y'all have long fingernails like me and you just can't type on your keyboard. So there's a few things. We're going to do hashtag text blaze, all one word, hashtag text blaze. You're going to tag the company text blaze. You're going to tag Catalyst Software, the company. You're going to hashtag Catalyst Software, all one word. You're going to tag customer-led growth and expert background solutions. I'm not going to tell you what's for what right now, but just so you know, you're going to have anything from a $50 Southwest e-gift, $25 Amazon gift card, tote bag, 2 months free of TextBlaze Pro. Y'all already know I love my TextBlaze, so please. And then we also have some Grove Cookie Company cookies. Somebody tag Grove Cookie Company. And then we have pretzels from Fatty Sundays. Y'all, they're on LinkedIn too. Tag Fatty Sundays in the comments. And let's get this party started. All right, back to us. Back to what we're all going to start talking about. So we're going to dive in with Relationship Building 101. While the guys talk about relationship building, I will start to pull up some of the comments that all of you are leaving for us. Thanks so much for joining. Everybody watching, y'all make the show what it is. Typically, Danny's the one in the comments. Dylan, y'all are the ones who are here supporting and watching. So thank you all for coming and watching and supporting the show. We appreciate you. This is part of relationship building. This is part of it. This is building community. I've got to stop hitting my mic. But this is start of like building community is the relationship building. So relationship building, how I met Danny and Dylan was both on LinkedIn, right? We talk about LinkedIn all the time, the power of LinkedIn. And Danny and I met in the comments. In the comments, it was like bada bing, bada boom. We are best friends. And it was literally that quick. And then it was like, here's my calendar. Like, here, we got to chat. Here, come on. Like, boom, boom, boom. It was just synergy right away, right? But it all started in the comments. So if you don't want to post and if you're not really feeling like, oh, I'm ready for that yet, just go lurk and comment. That's okay too, y'all. And Dylan got in my DMs talking to me about text plays, like we all do, reaching out, talking about our products. And we formed this relationship where now I'm actually partnered with Text Plays and I promote their product and I love it. I use Text Plays so much. I literally don't know what I would do without it at this point. But yeah, so relationship building 101. Danny, let's start with you. Let's talk about relationship building and tell me a little bit about, let me pull you up big. Tell me a little bit about the relationships you built to get you to where you are today.
Yeah, so I really try to keep everything as short and simple. So when it comes to relationship building, for me, one of the biggest things that I try to do is be myself because I feel like each of us have our own unique experience, and the best way for you to really build a really mutual, strong relationship is being who you are. And then after that, that has led me to a lot of cool relationships through LinkedIn. Like I'll give you like a perfect example. Before I started Callus in March, I actually ended up meeting Riley, and like a few other folks in Seattle, and we had Korean barbecue, boa, and it was just a really great time because everyone, the way that they post is exactly who they are in person, and like meeting in person is like such a game changer because like, oh shit, like we met through LinkedIn, now like we're good friends, So it's pretty cool about the whole platform on LinkedIn.
I love that. It really is all about that. Dylan, talk about relationship building in terms of, I know like when you started with Text Plays, you got an internship. What kind of relationships did you build to really get noticed to get that internship?
Yeah, it's pretty tough, especially for me. I graduated from college in last December, and I was going to college through COVID and applying through jobs just after that. It's pretty tough, especially when everything was online. So the biggest tip I use and that I would give people is just kind of put yourself out there. So on these platforms, whether it's LinkedIn or any other platform, just take your chance, put yourself out there. You never know like who's going to find you or who's going to see you. So that's kind of what I did, and it worked out for me. So
100%. Put yourself out there, y'all. If you're not putting yourself out there, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you here? Put yourself out there. If there's one thing I tell people they're going to grow or learn to grow when they work with me, and that's a confidence bone. And by growing a confidence bone, you are more likely to put yourself out there. So, y'all, what's the worst thing somebody's going to say to you? Like, no or not respond? That's really not that scary if you think about
yeah,
it, right? Like, at the end of the day, is it really that scary if somebody doesn't respond if you put yourself out there? Danny, I definitely saw somebody here is from California. I scrolled past it pretty quick, but somebody was commenting that they're in California with you.
I
Um,
don't
so there's definitely some California people in the comments. We got a lot of people tagging Text Plays and Catalyst software. Great job, y'all. Let's make sure. Let me look through them. Y'all are spelling things correctly. Y'all are oh, I'm so proud of y'all. Keep going, keep commenting and tagging so that y'all can win. But I am proud. You guys are spelling it all right today. It looks great. All right. So in terms of building relationships, not just in your job search, but in your company now, let's talk about how you've built relationships to kind of nurture what you're doing at the companies you work for now. So when you first got started in your job at your company, who was the first person, and neither one of them know this question's coming, so one of you just pick to answer. Who was the first person you really thought was the most important person to build a relationship with, and why? Who wants to go first?
I could take this one. So before I joined Callus, one of the first person that I actually ended up reaching out to is the previous community manager. His name is Daniel, and now he's handling everything demand gen. Him and I actually ended up partnering on a few times during my time at Sendoso, and we built a really strong mutual relationship by just learning from one another and just sharing best practice. And eventually, by the time that I applied to Callus, and now him and I are pretty much working hand in hand together, it was so much easier because I was learning about what did he do in the past, what worked, what didn't work, so as that way I can continue to make the community at Callus better, and also add everything that I've learned at Sendoso into Callus too. So I've been pretty fortunate to be able to work with a lot of people where like the it's like a mutual relationship, which is super awesome. It makes life so much easier too, because imagine if you're working in a company, right, but you don't really get along with your colleagues. That's gonna be so awkward, and it's also gonna make things a little harder, which is an environment you don't want to be in. So I've been pretty fortunate to be able to work with a lot of cool people so far.
100%. Okay. Dylan, I don't know who's watching from TextPlace, but who's the coolest person you work with at TextPlace?
Yeah, so I started full time in December, and about the same time, our head of customer success, Andrew, started. And customer success and community are a little bit different, but they're also a little similar. But yeah, I've talked to him a lot over the last couple months, and I feel like I've learned a lot. Even though the like roles that we have are different, I feel like there's a lot you can learn from people who do things that are like similar but not exactly the same as you. So a lot of people, or a lot of times, people want to focus on like only people that have the exact same role as you, which is good. But you kind of want to talk to a variety of people because you never know, like they might have something in their role that can help you in yours.
100%. No, 100%. I definitely think that exploring what other people are doing matters, right? Especially, I mean, talk about how small TextPlace is. TextPlace is a startup, right? Like,
Yeah.
how small are the teams, and like how much communication's going on?
Yeah, we're a remote team. We got about 10 to 20 members, so it's a pretty small startup. But I mean, the biggest thing for me is just communicating like effectively. So we have a bunch of team meetings. We have like weekly meetings, bi-weekly meetings for everyone. And the biggest thing for me is just maximizing the time that I spend in those meetings and getting to know the people I work with and communicating really well.
I love that. And Danny, you mentioned earlier, I know when you're talking about the people you've worked with and the relationships you formed in the past, how have some of the relationships that you formed at, like, say, Sendoso carried over to you now that you're at Catalyst?
Yeah, so I've been pretty fortunate enough to be able to. I didn't realize that this was also like a strength too. So I guess one of like my special powers or like super magic is that I'm super approachable. And I try to keep everything as fair as possible too. So when it comes to me approaching to other team members, everyone it's easily gravitates towards me just because my attention is always good. There's always something about business where I can help their customers or like just anyone in general to kind of figure out like what is the best way for us to do this and that. But pretty much being approachable is something that I've hold myself accountable to, which has led me to building relationships a little easier because people kind of know like how do I react to things and like how do I approach certain scenarios if things doesn't go like their way.
100%. I mean, being approachable is so important. I also tell people, like, being able to be okay in an uncomfortable situation, like, there's power in that. But I think, like, the more you work on being approachable, the less you end up in those uncomfortable situations, right? Like, so by being approachable, people will feel more comfortable around you, and you won't really end up in as many situations where you're like, oh, this is awkward. I don't know what I'm supposed to do right now.
I would even add like being a connector just because sometimes there are a few teams that are siloed and what can I do to kind of bridge that gap because I don't mind speaking up because by the end of the day we all work for a company and we have the same vision and goals, so like all right, how do I really just put myself out there within the company and like kind of bridge that gap. So that's what I did in the past and like it still works for me today. Like I don't mind speaking up as long as it makes sense for business.
100%. It's got to make sense for the business. But speaking up, there's power in that. If you're watching, are you the type of person who you're going to speak up or you're going to be quiet? Let's be honest. Let me know. I want to know because that's really what it's about, right? It's not just about what are we doing and how are we acting. Like, this is supposed to be about what you guys are doing who are watching too. So to that point, please let me remind you all, ask your questions in the chat. If you want to know more about community, if you want to understand what it's like to work in community, obviously we're going to dive into some of these topics. But if you have any questions for Danny or Dylan, and hey, Paul, I'm talking to you, Mr. Best Commenter on the planet with the questions showing up. Let me know what questions you guys have in the chat so that we can cover those as well. Because, like I said, I want your boss to give you an hour every week to come to the show. So you got to learn something. So ask a question so that you can be like, this is what I learned. All right, let's move into our next topic so that we make sure we have time to do everything today. This one is an interesting one right now. We're going to go from internships to layoffs. So, all of you know there was another big round of layoffs this week. Number of companies laid off. I want to say like another 1,000 people in tech were laid off this week. Hearts out to all of you. If any job seekers are out there, you need a free strategy call, get in my DMs. Happy to jump on a call with you and help set you up for success in your job search. But really, I want to go from internships to layoffs. So, like you all heard from Dylan a few minutes ago, and guys, if Dylan, if I call you Danny, and Danny, if I call you Dylan, God, the two D's are throwing me.
Yeah.
Whew, I'm so sorry. Every time I go to talk, I'm like, But Dylan, I know that you started with an internship and right out of college, and it's kind of led to where you are today. So I'd love it if you would kind of take it away and talk about really, did you expect for your internship to kind of go into what it is now? Like, how did it kind of evolve? And just talk to people about why maybe they should consider an internship if they are early in their career.
Yeah, so I'll give a little bit of background. I graduated from UNC Chapel Hill last December, so I'm pretty fresh out of college. And for me, I tried a bunch of different things before I found what I wanted to do. So my advice is if you're not sure what you want to do, consider an internship. Because for me, I started off like writing for a local newspaper, and I found journalism is not my thing. So then I tried a couple other internships, and it really helped me see a couple things like what my skills are, like what am I good at. An internship is great at that because it helped me find out like the things that I'm best at, and from then I went to find other internships or jobs that kind of focus around those skills specifically. But yeah, I learned that, I mean, whatever situation you're in, you kind of just have to take it as a learning situation. So I did an unpaid internship for about 6, 7 months. It wasn't great, but I mean, I took that and used it and got to where I am now. So from what I learned is there's always something you can gain or something you can learn from the situation you're in.
100%. And can I be honest with you all? I know some people like turn their nose at an unpaid internship. Like, all y'all leave my show right now. We don't want you to watch. Get out. Because at the end of the day, if I ever had that dream job that I wanted, and like say Danny's hiring for my dream job, right? And Danny's like, hell no, Lauren, you can do this job. The first thing I would go to Danny, if I knew like this was this is for me, I would literally go to Danny because listen, I'm privileged and I own that. I'd say that all the time. And there's a lot of people who will never be in the position to stop what they're doing and go work unpaid. I own that. I get that. But I am in that position in my life, and I would just walk up to Danny and I'd be like, bullshit, let me do it for 60 days for free and tell me that you don't want to pay me to keep me on. Like literally, I'm that confident in that. So y'all don't look at an unpaid internship as something that you need to like turn your nose up at. Like, y'all, that's something that gave him some invaluable experience, and look at where he's propelled himself. He's the head of community at a startup. I'm sorry to like call you out, but look how young he is, y'all. Well, I wish I was the head of community at a startup when I was his age. I'm not going to tell you all how old I am. My son tells everybody I'm 29 forever. Bless him. But y'all, like, I wish I was that. And I mean, maybe not like you specifically, Dylan, because we probably have a lot of differences, but I wish I had done something when I was that young, maybe to set myself up for that. So please don't look at an opportunity. Like I tell people all the time, allow yourself to be pleasantly surprised. Dylan allowed himself to be pleasantly surprised, and look at where that led him.
Yeah,
Right?
I like to see things as what they can be, not exactly what they are. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. All right. And then Danny, we're going to move to talk to Danny for a minute because Danny went through a layoff, right? And I know there's people watching right now. I know for a fact there's somebody watching who was laid off yesterday. And I feel for her. I feel for all of you who've been through a layoff. That's a moment where y'all don't go apply for a job the next day. Please take 24 hours. But let's talk to Danny about what do you do the moment you get laid off, and where do you go from there?
So I would even take a step back on even before getting laid off. So there was a quote that I actually, or a post that I saw like a few months ago. I believe Alex or someone had posted it, and it mentioned, don't wait until you get laid off to make your first LinkedIn post. And that got my attention a lot because, to piggyback to what Dylan and you had said too, Lauren, the more that you put yourself out there, but you're simply being yourself, a lot of people will eventually gravitate toward you on who you are as an individual. That could lead to a lot of different opportunities, along with different connections, because we all know how saturated the job market is. And I'm sure that you're getting a lot of people who's reaching out to you, to Lauren and Dylan, about, hey, is text lazy? Hey, Lauren, can you help me out? I think that was one of my biggest challenge when I first laid off from my first SDR job in 2020, like a month before the pandemic. And the way that I handled it was completely wrong. I played the victims game. I was blaming the entire world. I thought that I was the best SDR in that company, but I wasn't. It was because my ego was talking to me. So by the time that I got laid off again recently this year, the way that I handled things was very professional, but at the same time, I made sure that I looked back at my work history to see how far I've come, and then I depended on the community, just because I knew that I was supporting others, giving back whatever I can, and just simply being myself has led me to find a new role within a month. But this is really important as far as relationship building, because you may never know when you can support and help everyone in the community right now whether you can, but by the time that it's your turn, that for you to get laid off, it's so unpredictable, right? About the whole workforce, especially when you're under 95. But I feel the community is always going to be there as long as you've been showing up every single day. And yeah, that's what I would do. Don't wait until you get laid off to make your first post, but continue to show up every day, have fun on LinkedIn, engage, comment. And I think that's the best way for the long term.
And I tell people all the time, don't wait until you're laid off to meet with your recruiter for the first time. Having a recruiter in your corner does not necessarily mean that you are just open for work, but it means that you have somebody who understands your strengths and your skill sets. You have somebody who's constantly talking to hiring managers anyway, who's constantly looking at job boards anyway. And if I already knew everything that Danny could do and Danny got laid off tomorrow, Danny could just literally message me and say, Lauren, I was laid off, and I could be like, oh, I already know everything about you. Here, let me get all this set up for you. And tomorrow, Danny could be like, okay, I don't feel like I'm starting from square one. I don't feel like I'm overwhelmed. I don't feel like I don't know what to do. You have somebody in your corner. So meet with a recruiter before you are laid off, not necessarily just to look for a job, but to have somebody who will help you if the shoe ever falls, right? Like if it ever happens to you, like it's always not me until it's me.
One
Until
thing
it's
I
you.
would like to add to Lauren is that, let's say, for example, right now you're employed, right? But the world is so unpredictable. I would even like connect with others that works at a company that you potentially see yourself working in the future, just to really build that relationship. And the thing is, like, I'm not even like talking about like, oh, like ask them to hire you, but just simply building like a real short relationship, but still maintain it. So if anything happens, if you get fatigued in your current role, you're not growing your current role, you can reach out, but hey, like we have some mutual relationship. Is there any opportunities? But that's a good tip that I'll add too.
100%. Y'all, if anything for some reason like didn't work out with my own company and recruiting fell off for me, the first people I would reach out to were every single person I had on this show. I'd be like, hi, you know me? Hi, you know me? This is what I can do. Who's hiring? What do you got? Like, because that's what the network's about. And that's what you use your network for. So the other thing I want to say for people who've been laid off or job seekers, like there's no shame in telling your network, I'm looking for work. There's no shame in saying I was laid off. Don't feel bad that something happened to you that's out of your control and in a boardroom somewhere, literally in a boardroom somewhere. Like, you didn't wake up today and say, I'm going to lay off 100 people. It wasn't you. Stop feeling bad. Like Nomi said, Dell laid me off. Best thing that ever happened to me. And then she said, I took a vacation. Good for you, Nomi. Good for you. Y'all, it's really important. And if you're getting laid off, do something for your mental health before you just dive back into the job search. Like, take a day. It's okay to take a day. Paul said, okay, Lauren, here's your questions. What's the biggest mistake people make when they try to build a community? And what are the biggest misconceptions people have about community? So, Danny, I'm going to pop you up first for this one. Okay. To answer Paul. And then, y'all, after we go through this question with Paul, we're going to take a short break. We're gonna do a quick halftime video with the sponsors, and then we will come back for the rest of the show.
So I think the biggest mistake for about community and overall, it's been around like 7 months I've been in this role, but I've also been in other communities where someone would join a community, right? But they're not seeing any value in it. There is consistently salespeople trying to sell them their service, which does not make it a valuable community. Because the way that I see community is that community is a spot for you to learn from one another, network with one another, at the same time lift each other up to make sure that it's a safe spot. My analogy about this is that think of it as like a after school program. You want to be able to make that community like a second home for someone to just come in. They had a long day at school, and now they want to be able to talk to their peers to kind of figure out, hey, this is what I'm doing right now with my company. Is there any tips or advice? But overall, just consistently providing value, but making it more of a safe spot for someone to actually come in. And I think the biggest conception is that there are tons of communities, and I feel like there is a lot of communities that can create like a unique space and a unique environment. As long, and the way that I see it too is that community isn't run by like a one person show. Like you have to like talk to like different partners within the company just to make sure that, hey, everyone's aligned. Should we give this information or provide additional value to the community? But I'm sure that Dylan can answer some more context about this too.
Yeah. Dylan, what do you think? What's the biggest mistake people make? And then what's the biggest misconception about community?
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake people make is kind of like the reason behind it. If you're building it to build it, that's nice. But like, I think the core thing should be there should be something you're providing that's valuable, whether it can be advice, networking, something that if someone joins, they're like, oh, that's cool. That can help me. Like, that's the biggest thing that it should provide, some sort of value. And I think the biggest misconception is that like when you're building a community, it has to be kind of like the big ones that you see. So for TextBlaze, within kind of like startups and like companies, everyone looks at Notion because they have a giant community. But I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is that when you're building a community, it doesn't have to be like a template. It doesn't have to be from what someone else has done. You can do it on your own terms. I think that's something people need to keep in mind.
Yes, do it on your own terms. Leslie agrees. Yes, yes, yes. Dylan, creating your meaning and mission before you start the community is key. Paul says, love the insight. Alignment is definitely key for me. Nomi, thank you. 20% of my life, Nomi spent 20% of their life at Dell. So happy they're laid off. So happy. So y'all, like, that layoff might actually turn out to be the biggest blessing you didn't even know. Okay. Oh, look, aligning with a community that aligns with the things that are important to you. Yes. The other thing is, I see a lot of people join a lot of community and then you're not active, you're not involved. Like, that's not the space for you. When you find community that's for you, you will want to be there. You will want to show up. You will be like, "Oh, I miss it. Where is it? Where are my people?" Right? Like, that's what you're trying to build, is something that people are longing for, like that. Paul says you can be the representation. Love that. Doing it on your own terms. Love this, Dylan. Everybody's loving it all. All right, y'all. We're going to take a very short, I literally think like a 35-second break is pretty short, y'all. We're going to do a really short break. Before we go on break, let me one more time show you guys everything. So not enough people are tagging the actual company pages. I mean, it's less people to win. So like y'all are just hurting yourself. But hashtag TextBlaze, tag the company, hit the @ symbol, and then the little company will pop up and you touch it to tag it. If you are on LinkedIn, that works for you. But all of these things. So hashtag TextBlaze is going to be a TextBlaze tote bag. Tagging the company TextBlaze will get you 2 months of Pro for free. Tagging Catalyst software with the hashtag will get you some Grove cookie companies. Tagging the company Catalyst software will get you some Fatty Sundays pretzels. What? I'm like kind of like somebody's got to call me and maybe share one with me.
We're
Tag
bomb, Lauren, by the way.
what?
It's bomb.
Oh, I'm obsessed with pretzels. Like salty sweets, my jam. Tag customer led growth for a $50 Southwest e-gift. Y'all know you want to travel this summer? Somebody's traveling. Come see me in Florida. And then tag Expert Background Solutions. What's up, Expert Background Solutions? Thanks, Melissa, for sponsoring. For a $25 Amazon gift card. I got stuff in my cart if y'all don't. So let me know. And with that, we will be right back, y'all. Stay tuned. All right. We're back. It's halfway through. Tag the things, do the thing, share the show, all the stuff. Make me happy. Make my Friday a little bit better. It's raining outside. I'm going to get rained on. I like showered for you guys and I blow dried my hair and I'm going to get soaking wet on the way home. It's going to stink. But do the things. I'm so happy you guys are all still here. If you're just joining us, if you came in late, I know sometimes people have work or doctors or things. Ooh, the thunder is loud. I don't know if you guys can hear that. But if you're just now tuning in, we have a number of phenomenal giveaways, and I have 2 special guests with me, and we're about to get into like the meat of the show. Or the veggies if you're a vegetarian and you're only here for the vegetables. We support vegetarians too, whatever you want to eat. But we're about to get into like the good part. So come back, join, watch us now. We're going to jump into community development. Say what's up to Danny and Dylan as I bring them back. We're back.
Welcome back, everyone.
Oh, really quick. I always forget to say it. If you're watching the replay, you can't enter for the prizes. I'm sorry. They've already been given away. You'll find that out in a few minutes. But for those of you who are here now, we're so excited. We're jumping into what I'm most excited to talk about today. Like very, very excited. The boys know community and development. So first things first, right? Like I have somebody who I'm helping search for roles who wants to work in community, and that's an amazing thing. I think that there's a lot of jobs still coming up in community, but when you're searching for a job with community, the word community in it, it's very intriguing to me how many times like literal property management jobs come up for community manager. So talk to me a little bit about one, why did you decide on community, right? How did you know it was right for you? And like, how did you start to really develop it once you got into it? Who wants to go first?
I can take this one. So I've been pretty fortunate enough to be able to work with some amazing leaders that had see a lot of potential in me. For example, during my time at Sendoso, right when I joined there, my ultimate goal was to become a CSM, just because like I've thought that after being in this particular role, like the next role is gonna be a CSM, but I was definitely wrong. So the way that the community role came to me was more about serendipity. I've always been engaged with a lot of different communities, and to kind of pay back to what I said earlier too, being approachable is definitely has been a key component for me. It's easy for me to just reach out to anyone with the community just because they know that my intentions are good, and eventually that's how I was able to discover this community role, and it's been a good 7 months overall, but I'm consistently learning more about this role, and it's definitely been a fun ride so far. So serendipity is real. I did not picture myself last year being in this role until like a couple days ago when I was looking back at my journal. It's been a fun ride so far.
I love that. Dylan, do you feel like there was any serendipity for you in like landing on community being the thing?
Yeah, I think so. As I said, I did a few internships and kind of figured out what I wanted to do. And what I realized is I don't really want a role where it's kind of just me doing my own thing and I don't interact with people. So when I found out about like community roles and how you get to engage with people often every day, that's definitely something that I like to do. And if you're thinking about working in community, just understand it's like interacting with people, engaging with them. That's a big part of it. So if you're a big people person, you'll do great.
So, Dylan, if somebody wants to work in community and maybe they're going to go target a startup that doesn't have somebody who does community for them now, what kind of things should this person be saying that they could do or they could build? And like, what kind of tips would you give them to maybe kind of sell themselves for a position that doesn't exist?
Yeah, I think the biggest things that community does for sort of a startup is helps build awareness of the brand. So if it's like a startup company and not a lot of people know about it, one of the biggest things you can use to sell is that this role will help build a lot of awareness for the company. So for TextBlade specifically, for a while, a lot of people don't really know about it. So I feel like the role that I'm doing helps build awareness. So that's probably the biggest thing I would say.
I love that. Danny, what's the biggest thing that you're doing in terms of building the community for Catalyst?
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm consistently doing is that for the community that we have right now at Catalyst, there is around like 900 members. One of the things that I'm consistently doing every single day is reaching out to every community member, like at least like 25% of it one-on-one, just because I recently sent out like a mid survey to kind of see how is the community doing so far. Are they seeing any value? And I also added an option where they can read it, and I want them to provide me honest feedback. When I was reading it a few days ago, there is a lot of stuff that Callus, including myself, still needs to improve on, and I love that feedback because it's real, it's honest. If someone was to provide me the survey and it's all sugarcoated, it's not going to help me grow as an individual, and then I wouldn't know how do I get better. Like for example, one of the things that I need to work on right now is providing more insightful resources, and that's definitely on my game plan for the next couple weeks. So just really reaching out to community members one-on-one instead of using automation. There's nothing wrong with automation. I think it's great, especially if you are going to be sending out like a mass message. But there are certain target community members that I really want to know more about, like the insights, especially if they're like a director or higher. So that's something that I constantly try to do every single day.
I love that. Okay, so a few things I want to point out to everybody who's watching right now. You have two different size company community leaders on with you, right? Completely different company sizes. Danny, how big is Catalyst?
Callus is around like 100 employees.
Okay, and TextBlade has less than 20. Okay, so when we're talking about the company sizes, just remember that we're talking about different company sizes. You guys are both at different stages in their community growth and what they're building. But the biggest thing I really want to hone in on right now are a few things we spoke about earlier in the episodes that really translate to right now. Danny talked about being approachable and that being a skill. Okay, well, if Danny wasn't so approachable, people wouldn't be willing to give him that honest feedback that he's asking for as a community manager. So think about those things. All of the skills that he said, these are important and these are important. They're not just to get the job, they're to be successful in the role, because ultimately you can get a job. I tell people all the time, I can go out and I can get you an interview and we can get you the job. But if you're not in it and doing it and loving it and successful, we're going to end up back here in 6 months. There's no point in that. So being approachable, right? And really getting that feedback. Dylan, do you guys get feedback from your users?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest parts of the role is talking, not just talking to people, but like understanding how you can improve. Because even if you're just one person running a business or you have 1,000 employees, there's always something you can improve. So kind of keeping an open mind and kind of listening, doing a good job of like social listening, understanding like what's the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, understanding all that definitely helps.
Y'all, there's going to be pros and cons.
That when you get like a negative feedback, don't take it too personal, just because this is still very biz oriented. I used to really get offended in the past when like someone would give me like a negative feedback, but that's just who I was in the past. But like now, like I take everything with a grain of salt, but at the same time, I know that it's nothing personal, and that's the reason why I mentioned that there's always room for improvement, no matter how big your company is or how small your company is too.
Always room to improve, y'all. And listen, like just how in a normal job, nothing's ever going to be perfect all the time, right? You're going to not get great feedback from your boss sometimes on your project or whatever. Like you're both just in a very vulnerable role where the feedback's coming from your users and the people who pay for your product and your tool. So it's a very vulnerable job. I would say that in a sense too. Anybody who's thinking about getting into a role in community, it's a vulnerable place to live and a vulnerable place to be in terms of you never know what kind of feedback you're about to get. You never know what's coming. And you're not cold calling someone who's going to hang up on you, who doesn't like you. You're dealing with people who are active in your community right now, who are already involved, and they're like, you need to fix this, Danny, or Dylan, this would make it better, right? So you have to be open to those kinds of relationship. I would say if you're not a good communicator, community's not for you, right? Um, what I okay, I guess like we can wrap up this topic a little bit, but really I want to talk about in terms of developing your communities, right? Danny, I'm gonna have you go first. In terms of developing your communities, not just from where you are to where you are now, but how do you guys plan for the future of community growth? Is it a 30, 60, 90? This is my plan of what's going to happen. Like, how do you guys plan for the future of your development and how do you ensure you're hitting those goals?
I could take this one. So I'm going to pay back to what I said earlier regarding reaching out to the community members one on one. You're constantly going to be hearing a lot of things within the community, but the best way for you to plan like what the next 6 months is going to be looking like is to really understand what's important to the community members and what's important to them, what are they excited about, collect all that feedback. And that's the reason why sending out that survey a few weeks ago has helped me a lot. Now I have a lot of things planned for the next 6 months. The only thing I need to do now is create like a summary and figure out what is the best way for me to execute it. But hearing what the community wants is definitely going to be the most critical part, based off what I've had seen so far.
And then another question, really quick. In terms of working in community, like people who work in sales and marketing and everything, we all know what our KPIs are, right? Like, what's a KPI in terms of working in community?
So one of the KPIs for me is how many people can I have joined the community for each quarter. So that's going to be one. How much pipeline it generates. So I feel like there is also a misconception where the community isn't really a sales role, but technically it is because you're still tied to some sort of KPI because it's still going to be it's the community role is still tying up to a revenue goal, right? Except that you don't have like an individual, but all the activities that you're doing right now, it's tied up to some sort of revenue goal for the company to hit their numbers. And yeah, it's because I spoke with a few people who are like, the community, there's no seller. Like I was like, no, there is selling involved. You're selling value. You're um adding a lot of insight. There's just so many pillars in this community where like it's easy, but it's not.
But it's not. But it's not, y'all. It's not. Don't just sit here and think marketing has it easy. Don't just sit here and think sales. It's not just easier. All right,
No one has
Dylan, tell us a little bit about what your plan is for the future of community and how you're planning to build it. And like, do you have KPIs? What's that look like for you?
Yeah, kind of going off what Danny said, making a plan is actually pretty easy because in the daily interactions, you're talking to people and they're giving you feedback. So, kind of using that, you can kind of create a plan. Like, these are the things that the community members want different. These are the things that they're struggling with. And kind of using the feedback from like daily interactions, the people that you talk to, you can use that, turn it into here's what I'm going to do next. Here's the plan that I'm using. And as far as KPIs for me, getting people to join is a big one. But also one that I like to use is just how many interactions did I have like per week? Like trying to have like good, meaningful interactions with people in the community is definitely something I try to do.
I love that. I love that. All right, y'all. That's about it for community and development. I don't have any more questions coming up for that. Don't forget to tag so that you can win. Let me throw those up one more time before we get into our last topic of the day. Okay. Text plays, catalyst, customer led growth and expert, Background Solutions. It's only going to be here for a minute. Get it before it's gone. I'm taking it away in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goodbye. All right. I want people to like get to win, but at the same time, like we're here to talk. So we're moving on from that. All right, leveling up, y'all. This is the last topic of the day before we draw all your giveaway prizes so that you guys can win some fun stuff. But I really want to talk about leveling up, not just in terms of building community, not just in terms of your job search, but kind of overall in your life. And I mean, I want both of you to kind of just reflect on like where you've come in the last year, how you've leveled up, and like let's just give some people some encouragement on this Friday of listen, like today you might not be in your best headspace. Today you might be like hurting from a layoff yesterday, or today like might not be the day where you're feeling like you've leveled up, but this is what could happen. And like let's give some people some positivity. So let's see who it picks. Dylan, you get to go first.
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing I've known is where you are isn't where you're going to end up. So yeah, for me, like 2 years ago, I was working on campus at like a fast food place, and I wasn't very happy with that. So I kind of just sat down and was like, here's the goals, like actionable goals I can take to get to where I want to be. So I sat down, I kind of planned, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to get there. And kind of the thing that I kept in mind along the way is where you are isn't where you have to be. So keep that in mind.
Yes, keep that in mind. Where you are is not where you have to be. You can go anywhere and do anything. All right, Danny, let's talk about your last year. You've been through a lot in the last year. How do you feel after everything that's happened?
So it's definitely been a journey. So like a few months ago, I was watching a YouTube video. It was like a 5-minute video. There was a quote that actually got my attention, and I actually like wrote it in my wall, like next to my desk. But pretty much, it's a very simple quote: "Say yes now and fail later. Say yes to the things that give you energy. Say yes to the things that makes you happy, and overall, how you feel mentally. Because how you feel physically and mentally should go hand in hand. It should never be like an off balance, or else like you can do the greatest work, but once the other one starts to burn out, you're eventually going to fall down. So for me personally, I have been speaking with like other community managers every other week, because it's okay to tell yourself that you don't know everything, and that's something that I've struggled with in the past too. Like I thought that I knew everything, but in the end, it was just my ego talking, right? So now, like I'm very transparent with myself. I reach out to a few other community managers on LinkedIn and constantly just trying to learn and get best practice with them. But by the end of the day, I'm always going to give them gratitude and just thank them, because they didn't have to talk to me, but by them talking to me inspires me and gives me a better idea on how do I get better in my role professionally and personally too. So that has definitely kept me grounded, and it's definitely made up like from the past.
I love that. And y'all make sure, like Dylan and Danny have said, and we're talking about in this show today, like being approachable is so important, but making a plan and understanding what you want. I talk to a lot of people who don't really know what they want. And even when we try to talk about it and we try to figure it out and they still don't really know what they want. So, really, a lot of it is about self reflection and looking inside of you and really understanding like what's going to fulfill you, right? And then doing more of what you love, what things that make you happy. KD was on the show a while ago. He posted today about his friend who has lung cancer. Y'all, like you're not going to live forever, okay? You're not. And my thoughts go out to his friend, but live your life for more than just the job. Level up for you as a person, right? Like, I want to be a better Lauren today. And hopefully, by being a better Lauren, I'm a better recruiter and I'm a better job search coach. I'm a better all of those things, right? But my goal when I wake up daily is to be a better me. It's not to be a better person at my job. So, in terms of leveling up, and I know you're listening, and this is a show about work, and I want you guys to learn about work, but think about that every day. And I know in sales and all this stuff, you guys think be 1% better every day. Don't be 1% better. Just be a better you. Be a better you than you were yesterday. And if you're a better you, then you're going to level up because you can't not level up. Right. All
And
right.
one
So,
last thing I like to add, Lauren and Dylan, is that, and this has helped me a lot too, for me to like get better overall in my role, is that, and it's a great reminder. A lot of us are not really curing cancer. We all work for a company that's either like a startup or like banking or whatever industry you're in. Most of the time, a lot of the emails and response that someone's expecting back, it can wait the other day, a few hours or the next day. So make sure that you take care of yourself first, then so that way when you respond back, your mind is more clear. So that's one that I constantly try to remind myself, because I'm not a doctor. I just tell myself, hey, this email can definitely wait for like a few hours, unless it's like super urgent from like my CEO or like my manager, then I'll respond back. But most of the time, a lot of the stuff can wait until the next day.
okay, I'm going to pop in and tell everybody, take your work email off your phone. Take your work email off your cell phone. Take it off because people have your phone number. So like Danny's point, if it's super urgent, I'll reply to it. No, bro, if it's super urgent, they're calling you because it's super urgent. Take your email off your phone. Nobody expects you to reply to email within 5 or 10 minutes. That's what texting and phone calls are for. So take your email, or at least listen. I get people who are like, "Oh my god, I could never." Stop. Okay, you're gonna be okay. Just turn off the notifications. Make it to where it stops dinging or vibrating every time you get one. If you're one of those people, but y'all, take your email off your phone. People will call you if they need you right away. It's not the end of the world. Like Danny said, make sure you're in the right headspace, right? Like, don't go respond to a bunch of people if you just got horrible news. Take a minute, take a breath. So, all right. I don't think I told either one of you, but if you've watched the show, you both know this is coming. We do a fun Friday fact every Friday. So I would love for you both to tell me a fun Friday fact. It can be anything you want. It could be something funny. It could be something just about you. It could be something about your company that's kind of boring. James Perry did. I talk about James Perry. If you're watching, I talk about you every show because I'm still obsessed with the Australian accent you did. I just want him to come and like, I want him to do a voiceover for me for the "You are now joining," and I want it to be in his Australian accent. Like that's what I want in my life. Somebody tag James Perry, please, God, James Perry, film that for me with your Italian or your.
The goat, by the way.
What?
James is the goat.
Oh, he's the goat. The goat.
The that he has built is amazing.
He announced that we were doing a show together, and I got 100 new followers in a day. I was like, what? I was like, what? Do you want to come on next week too? All right, y'all, let's do some giveaways. If you're watching, I'm going to throw it back up on the screen one last time. Text Blaze. So the hashtag Text Blaze will win you a tote bag. Tagging the company Text Blaze will win you well, it's only going to win one of you, not all of you. But tagging the company Text Blaze will win one of you 2 months free of Text Blaze Pro. And if you win that, I will personally give you 30 minutes to walk you through it. Sorry, Dylan, for taking over your time for that. Like, I'll do the demo for Dylan because I love it. Catalyst software, I can't do demos for that. Maybe Danny will teach me. I don't know. I sit here and do Apollo demos once a week too. It is what it is. Somebody tag Apollo. They need to come back and watch my show. Sponsor me, Apollo. I know you said no, but I'm gonna keep trying. Catalyst software, 2 hashtags for them. Customer-led growth is gonna win you the $50 Southwest gift card, and then Expert Background Solutions for a $25 Amazon gift card. So I see about a few. Oh, look, we got people commenting comments. Not the okay. Level up for yourself. Continue to strive to be the best version of yourself. Life is short. It's so short. That advice was for me who skipped labs to do work instead. Don't skip your stuff. More important. I never had my work email on my phone. Look at that, y'all. If you have never had your work email on your phone, comment right now. Give me an emoji or something. Like, I don't believe that. Amber, I'm proud of you. Paul tagged James. Thank you for tagging James. Virginia says, if you don't take the time, your body will one day force you to take it. Cancer, heart issues, mental health, take care. Sam says it's about connection, creating connection with users so that they are free to share. They think you're failing. Apollo, thanks for tagging Apollo. Michelle, what's up, Apollo? Love you guys. All right, we're going to do the giveaways now. Let me move all of this around.
Let's say he's going to be the lucky winner.
Who's going to be the lucky winner? Y'all, I've been producing this show on my own. So, like, if you can't see my face or if something goes wrong, it's all my fault. And I'm sorry in advance. So, share my screen. All right, the first one we're going to give away is hashtag TextBlaze. You got about like 30 seconds if you want to hashtag TextBlaze to win. On your mark, get set. And we got 16 entries. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Oh no, I got to get rid of this overlay. We can't see it. Who's it going to be? Jess V.
Nice, Jess. Congrats.
Congratulations, Jess. You just won a TextBlaze tote bag. I will DM you after the show to get you that TextBlaze tote bag. Let me move this comment off the screen. I just got everything like stuck up here. Hide my current comment. Okay, there we go. All right, let's do this next one. Let's share. This is why I'm going to get somebody to start helping me with this so I don't have to do it all by myself. All right, for tagging TextBlaze, we have 9 entries. Can you guys see my screen? I hope so. Drawing. Who's it going to be? Marin! What's up, Marin? All right, Marin, you just won 2 months free of TextBlaze Pro. Congratulations to Marin. I will get with you to get you the TextBlaze Pro. All right, we are moving in now. We're going to give away some Grove Cookie Companies. This is for a dozen Grove Cookie Companies. We have 13 entries. I haven't clicked draw yet, so last chance. Grove Cookie Companies, let's go. Who's winning the cookies? Everybody always wants the cookies. Jody got some cookies. Congratulations, Jody. Snaps for Jody. I need like a buzzer or something in here, like a sound box. Somebody, if anybody loves the show and you want to send me like one of those things that does sound effects, I'm all about it. I'm accepting donations of a sound box. If anybody, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. You guys know what I'm talking about. All right. Let's do the giveaway for the Fatties Sunday. Is it Fatty Sunday or Sunday Fat? Fatty Sunday pretzel?
Yeah.
All right. So while this is drawing, Danny, tell them about the pretzels.
Yeah, so I tried these like a few months ago, and it reminded me of that one brand. I forgot. It's kind of like, I forgot the brand, but you can definitely get it at Target. But instead of it in like a actual pretzel, it's like in a stick, and then it's not too much sugar, which is great. But overall, it's a very unique taste in a good way.
All right, awesome. Well, Virginia, congratulations, Virginia. You won the pretzels. I want to hear all about them because I want to know how good they are. I might have to get me some of those in my life. All right, next one we're giving away is going to be for the Southwest e-gift card from Danny and Catalyst. So, customer-led growth, we have 17 entries. Who's it going to be? Who's going to win this? You know you're traveling. You better come see me in Florida.
Yes, you gotta come see Lauren for sure.
Amber, you won. I will get with you. Congratulations. Let's get some love for Amber in the comments. All right, and then the last one, the one that everybody could use is the Amazon. I don't know anybody who couldn't use an Amazon gift card. Like, y'all, if you win an Amazon gift card, you ever don't want it, I'll give you $20 cash for your $25 Amazon gift card. I make a deal with you. I'm trying to teach my kid that with like quarters and dollars and stuff. He's not getting it yet. One day soon. All right. Amazon gift card. Let's draw for it. We got 9 entries for expert background solutions. Y'all are sleeping on this. Who's going to win? Let's see. Virginia won 2 times. Wow. Virginia, how funny. So Virginia actually messaged me before the show to ask if there was going to be a replay, and I was like, Virginia, you have to try to log on and join because you can only win if you join and comment while we're live. So look, she just won 2 times. Virginia, congratulations. Please share the show and go follow everybody that you guys have seen here today. If you're not following Dylan and you're not following Danny, we're going to have a problem, and I'm going to come in your DMs and yell at you. Probably not, but maybe. So I will possibly check and come stalk you all. I don't know. I'm so happy you both joined me today. Thank you so much for coming. Is there anything else you guys want to say to everybody before we wrap it?
Thanks for joining, everyone, and thank you, Lauren, for having both of us on. Definitely a great way to kick off Friday for the weekend for sure.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. All right, you guys, this was fun. It is never a show without you guys showing up in the comments. So thank you to everybody who's commenting. Thank you for showing up. Next week is the recruiter show. So I will be joined with a number of other recruiters. We're going to answer all the questions you guys have about your job search, getting hired, anything you need. Unless it's inappropriate. We don't answer inappropriate. Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the week goes and see how we feel next Friday. So if you have questions for recruiters, if you know anybody looking for a job, tune in next week. And without further ado, that's all, y'all. Bye.
Bye.